I could totally live in Utah. But
we're in our 50s dreaming about retirement, but I don't know if we'll ever get there. The world as we know it is crumbling. Supply chain chaos, food, gas, and housing prices out of control. Companies can't seem to fix problems. The dollar is completely corrupt, and friends and family are split over politics like either side of the same coin really matters. I feel like we've been thrown off the train and nobody cares.
I just want to find an affordable place to live that's beautiful with fast internet where I can grow food and keep chickens and be a little more self-sustaining in a caring, live and let live kind of community.
So this spring, the hubby and I hit the road exploring new places to live in a big loop around the Northwest US. We started in Tahoe, drove down to Vegas, lived like locals for a couple of weeks, and realized that desert life just wasn't for us. So we headed up to Utah to check out St. George, Provo, and Ogden.
We left Vegas on a Sunday, planning to hit St. George for lunch.
The first part of the drive was kind of boring, but great for listening to geeky Star Trek podcasts.
What do you think they found?
And I do love this.
Astonishment.
Vulcans have lost at things like the idea that they couldn't even conceive of failure is ridiculous.
Once we got past Mesquite and into the Virgin River Gorge, though, the scenery changed dramatically. It was beautiful. There were so many cool rock formations crossing that corner of Arizona all the way into Utah.
St. George itself was also surrounded by amazing red rock formations.
Now, I love a good downtown, and you can usually find interesting restaurant options there, so the first thing we did was to Google our way to the middle of Main Street to see what we could find.
Unfortunately, it was kind of a bust. We didn't see any clusters of historic downtown buildings or a plaza or a park, really. It wasn't that walkable. It felt very suburban. We did see some cute street lamps, though.
Quality food. When someone has to say that, why?
Those red cliffs. That's
Oh, yeah,
cool.
it's pretty amazing.
It was very clean and well kept, though, which I appreciate.
But let's talk about housing for a minute. The current median list price for a single-family home in St. George is $814,500, which is crazy since only 2 years ago it was only $4 something. Here's what you get for $500,000. Homes under $699,900 typically sell in 7 days or less, so it is definitely a seller's market. On the plus side, there are tons of good hiking trails very close to town, with the Red Cliff Conservation Area, Snow Canyon State Park, Santa Clara River Reserve, Sand Hollow State Park, and of course, Zion National Park, so close by.
Honestly, if you like desert bouldering and overlanding, this is probably your Mecca.
We ended up having lunch at a sushi place near the freeway that was really good. We had a hard time finding something open though because it was Sunday in Utah and things weren't open, and that's something you just have to get used to if you live here, I guess.
Well, I can see the appeal of living there. It's clean, quiet, it's got those gorgeous red rocks, there's lots of hiking. It didn't have a real downtown that I could see. It's expensive, and it's still the desert, which we learned in Vegas isn't really our thing.
Next stop, Provo. Pretty quickly, the scenery changed again as we gained elevation. It became less deserty and more mountainous, and we began to see pinyon pines, more green, some beautiful ranches, and gorgeous peaks in the distance. Along the way, we passed some really interesting towns that I would have loved to stop and explore, like Hurricane, Cedar City, Beaver, Payson, Springville, and Calobe Canyon looked like it'd be fun to explore too. It's a part of Zion National Park that I didn't even know existed, and it's right off I-15.
I'll just have to come back and look around when I have more time.
It may seem like we're rushing through these places, not spending much time, but this was a scouting trip, and we only had 2 more weeks to do it. Our intention was to cover a lot of ground, see places of interest, and then decide from there what was worth exploring more deeply. We arrived in Provo after a full day of driving, staying at a Marriott Residence Inn using points. It was lovely and the price was right.
Okay, so we're at the end of the hall.
Got a little kitchen, seating, a desk,
And look at the views of the mountains. So much bigger in real life. Bed, a closet, a little dressing area, nice bathroom, and big old shower. Ted were only here one night. We also met another YouTuber and his wife for dinner that night. And oh my gosh, we had never met in person, but it was like long lost friends. And we talked for hours. It was amazing. So if you're into Utah hiking, go check out Greg Ringstum's channel. That's what he vlogs about. And if you need to get on a diet and lose some weight, he can hook you up with that too.
The next day, we left late after getting some work done in the morning. Our goal was to see a bit of Provo before heading to Ogden for lunch. Of course, we headed straight downtown to see what that was like, and it was pretty impressive. There was this cute row of older buildings several blocks long with shops and restaurants, a park, a convention center, hotels, a university nearby. It was charming and clean and lively with some new construction in the mix, and the mountain views were incredible. The Wasatch Range is huge and right there, like Switzerland dramatic.
Another great thing about Provo is that there's lots of alpine hiking right out your back door. The only problem is a lot of it is straight up. There's the big Y. Look at that trail. Switchbacks galore. It seems like you have to drive a bit to find hiking trails with more moderate inclines, but the meadows and the aspens and the gorgeous peaks surrounding them are just incredible.
So, housing. The median list price for a home in Provo is currently $664,995, and here's what you get for about $500,000. It's a strong seller's market here, with anything under $599,450 typically selling within 7 to 10 days. It used to be more affordable, but as with most places we're looking at, prices have really gone up since COVID.
Despite all that, I was really liking Provo. The views, trails, restaurants, shopping were all great. And clearly, the economy was thriving with all the businesses and the high-tech companies and the university right there in town. And I don't know if this is just a stereotype or not, but my understanding of Mormon culture is that families prep for the end of the world just in case.
This means they have homesteading skills like gardening, canning, cooking, and storing food. And frankly, those are the kind of neighbors I'd like to have. Not to mooch their supplies, but to learn to be better prepared for hard times myself, because I think they're coming. So you want to be with people who are prepared.
Sure, we'd never be a part of the LDS community, and yeah, maybe that would be isolating. Plus, Utah has some weird laws around buying booze, and everything's closed on Sunday, or a lot of things are, so that would just be something to get used to.
We zipped past downtown Salt Lake City, which is a little too big for my taste, as well as the junction to Park City, which is another place I could totally live if I had a bigger budget. Heber City, south of there, also looks like an interesting place to explore, but the real estate in the area is pretty spendy. It was an easy drive up to Ogden. Traffic wasn't really a problem. There were just a few bumps in the road, and we went up 89 to see more of the residential areas. The mountains did become slightly less dramatic the more north we went. Downtown Ogden definitely had a different feel than Provo. It seemed a little more funky, down home, less polished, and I'd say less pretentious.
Maybe a tad rougher around the edges. I mean, we saw our first homeless guy in all of Utah there, but it had this charming downtown strip that seemed more historic than Provo's. We stopped for lunch at the Pig and Jelly Jar, and it was this local place with a great vibe, healthy food, truly a delight.
The median list price for a home in Ogden is $582,900, so a little more affordable than Provo. But it's a strong seller's market, with homes under $499,000 typically selling within 10 days, and even the more expensive homes selling within 14. Here's what you get for about $500,000. Ogden had a ton of hiking trails in the area too, and not all of them were straight up. Plus, there was a river parkway and a reservoir not too far away in the mountains with what looks like a cute little town called Huntsville. So the whole area, in my opinion, is definitely worth exploring further.
But, and here's the but, Ted wasn't thrilled about it. Even though it's a nice place, it was far from California and family and friends that we know there, and not any better than where we live in his eyes. Personally, I loved Utah way more than I thought I would, and I'd love to see more. But this is a joint venture, and we have more places to see.
We drove a few hours north through some beautiful Great Basin scenery and stopped in Idaho Falls for the night. Next time, we'll be driving up to Montana to see Livingston, Bozeman, Helena, and a bit of Missoula, then on to Idaho to see even more. I'm Diane, and with my hubby Ted, we're looking for the best place to live in America given the economic degradation and insanity around us. Can you relate? If so, say hello in the comments, like, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you don't miss a thing.